Hello everyone and welcome to EVE Basics episode. I have no idea, I lost track of the numbers, but today we're going to talk about a PvE ratting build for the Vexor Navy Issue. Now this is going to be kind of similar to my ratting build for the Vexer, but we got to talk about the benefits of running a Vexor Navy Issue, or a VNI for those in the know, over just a regular Vexer. And you can decide if it's worth it to pay the extra cost to fit this thing up. But it looks exactly like a Vexer, so I buy different skins so I don't accidentally think, hey, I'm in a Vexer and go do something dumb. Because this is about 93 million ISK fit on this thing. So let's take a look at a naked Vexor Navy Issue. Whoa! And just see what it's got over a regular Vexer. So right away you can see that it's got a tracking speed bonus to its drones. So what this means is you can almost ignore light drones on this thing. The Vespa, the medium drones, whatever medium drones you use, can pretty much hit frigates for ratting purposes. In fact, this the fit that I put together only carries one light drone. I'll explain why later. You can put more in there if you feel good about it, but you can kill frigates with your medium drones. The drones can hit them, and that means your heavies can also hit cruisers. Certainly battle cruisers and stuff like that. So, you know, you can carry just bigger drones and just launch bigger drones right from the start of every combat, thanks to the tracking speed bonus to the drones. Your turrets also have tracking speed bonus, but that's not like a huge deal for this build anyway. I'd never found my Vexor blasters having too much trouble hitting. Mostly when the Vexor blasters miss, it was because of range issues, because with void ammo, you have to be like right inside the trunk of the enemy ship in order to hit them. So, you know, this tracking thing, it's fine, it's nice, but it's not necessarily whatever. But this also has damage, medium hybrid turret damage. Now, 50% with maxed out skills seems like a lot, but you're losing one of the turret slots up here. And so it does work out to be more, just not double like you would think. It's about 50% more damage off your blasters, which is still fine. And the big thing on the VNI is the armor repair amount. So 35. Wow, math is hard. I can never do this. 37.5 is such a weird value. Is that even right? Yeah, that's right. 37.5% armor repair increase means you're just even safer in this thing, which is really nice. You gain a little bit of fit space on here as well. You're gaining, at max skills, you're gaining like 62.5 CPU over the Vexor, and you're gaining 187.5 power grid over the Vexor. So most of that fitting space honestly just goes to increasing from ion blasters to neutron blasters, and that's where most of the extra fitting space goes. And you have an extra low slot down here, so some of that fitting space is necessary for the second DDA we're going to put on here. And then you have, 75 more M cubed of drones. But like, for the purposes I'm using it for, I don't really fill the drone bay. If you're finding yourself flying to a lot of different sites with different types of enemies that have different resist holes, then you might carry a couple different flights of weird things or whatever your little heart desires. But for the most part, I don't really fill up the drone bay. So your signature radius is also 15 meters smaller, so you're a little bit harder to hit. Hey, whatever works. And you also, your base speed is 20 meters per second faster roundabouts. And you're gaining like 4,700 EHP just on, this is a naked Vexor. It's also a bit lighter and more maneuverable, so its inertia modifier is lower, which is good. Lower is better here. And it actually is noticeably less massive, and it is noticeably more nimble when you're trying to loot the wrecks after you're done blowing everything up. It's much easier to get around. It turns quicker, and it feels like a much lighter ship, because it is. So that's your naked Vexor Navy Issue. Let's look at like the fit. It's called Tech 2 Serpentis Rat Blaster, and I can't fly it, this version of it, because I don't have Tech 2 drone, Tech 2 heavies yet. I'm a bad Galente pilot, but I will have them in just a measly 16 days, so don't you fear, I'll get there. Right now I'm using Caldari Navy Wasps in this fit, but whatever. So let's start in the drone bay. So two of the, the best whatever heavy drones you can do. Because I'm fighting Serpentis rats, I'm putting Wasps in here because kinetic damage is where their resist hole is, so we're just going with the Caldari drones here. 5 medium Vespas. Sometimes, if there's no battleships, I just launch Vespas. So there's that. And there's 1 Hornet. So even if there's frigates, I launch the Vespas that I launch can take care of the frigates because of the tracking bonus to the drones up here. And so I only carry 1 Hornet because in a ship with 75 megabits drones, the biggest damage combination of drones you can launch is 2 heavies, 2 mediums, and 1 little light who just comes along for the ride and does his little best. So this is what I carry, 105 out of 200, whatever. This keeps it as cheap as possible, right? Because I don't need to be blowing up with 5 Hornets, 5 Vespas, 5 Wasps, 5 Geckos, whatever you stuff in here. Like, just keep it easy because people blow up. Void ammo in here. Wow. So what I've done up here is I've got my triple neutron blasters in here, and these things do a ton of damage. So if I load my void ammo in, let's see what my blasters are actually, 289 DPS versus my drones at 367. Like, it's about 50-50-ish between blasters and drones on what's typically thought of as a drone boat, but it's bonused for those hybrid turrets, so might as well use them. And then it has a utility high because it only fits 3 turrets. It's got an extra slot left over. Now, the conventional wisdom here would probably be a drone navigation. Not drone nav. Drone link augmenter. The thingy that makes your drones go farther. But typically when you're ratting or when you're PvEing, especially in a blaster ship, you tend to be 3,000 meters from the enemy. So it really doesn't matter how far your drones can fly. You're going to be able to hit whatever you're attacking. So what I've stuffed up here on this thing is a Nosferatu. This is the compact version. You could go to Tech 2. It fits, but there's no real point in it because this is here to just provide us more cap. Because remember, the thing about clearing rats quickly is you are mostly, you're mostly gated by your DPS, of course, right? But you're also gated by how much capacitor you can have to fly around with your Microwarpdrive on, to loot all the stuff, to warp to the next place, and all that. So the higher you can keep it. So it's not, the Nosferatu doesn't work the way it does on, like an Ashimu, where it'll just drain whatever. If you have a battleship to drain, then you orbit the battleship and you drain it, and your Nosferatu will pretty much always tick because NPCs have unlimited cap, and so this will always drain something with a bigger capacitor. Battlecruisers, battleships, usually you can get this to drain every single time, and that helps push you a lot closer to cap stability. Without it, you're depleting in 50 seconds with everything on, and with it you're depleting, relatively slower. Of course, you're not going to have your Microwarpdrive on the whole time, so we're talking about the difference between depleting in a couple minutes versus depleting in 21 minutes or whatever. So, this makes a huge difference. In some of the null-sec combat sites, like the Serpentis Forsaken Rally Point, this thing's an absolute godsend, as you can keep your armor repper and your hardeners on for literally just forever, as long as this NOS is draining a battleship, which you always should be doing. So that's why I popped that up there. I think it's the best fit for that. We've got enduring versions of the Microwarpdrive in the web because running out of cap is bad and makes me sad. Again, I web because I find that the first few shots of my blasters is kind of tricky to hit without a web, without webbing down. Because when you're Microwarpdriving in on something, you can kind of control it. If I was a better pilot, I could do better. Because you can kind of stop your ship and have it kind of glide in and then shut your Microwarpdrive off and all this other stuff. It's too much micromanaging for me. So what I do is when I'm about 20 km away, I click my Microwarpdrive off, and whatever happens, happens. And I slow down and start orbiting at 500. That's the closest orbit you can get, and that's what you want. You can get under the guns of a battleship that way. And if you're turning your web on, and your Nosferatu on, and your guns on, the web really helps slow that target down so that when you come slinging in, if you sling a little bit past it, it's moving slower, and you can get back into orbit range. Because these blasters, you got to be, within 3,500 meters or whatever to get the optimal. You don't want to miss too many shots because this is a lot of DPS. 2 capper chargers. I find that, okay, I'm going to talk more about the web. I find that if I don't have webs on these fits, I feel bad. All right, that's just it. You can't theory craft your way out of feeling bad. You just can't. So double cap rechargers here because there's nothing really else the mid slot needs. I don't need an omnidirectional tracking computer. I don't, because I have, tracking speed bonus on my drones, I don't need tracking computers for my guns. They hit just fine on everything they need to. So more cap, always good. DCU, put it on every ship you own. Don't be a noob. Drone damage amplifiers, a couple of those because, hey, drones are good. These enduring, I talked about them in my Vexer video, but I'm going to talk about them again. These things are amazing. The amount of cap these enduring experimental versions save you over the Tech 2 when you're only paying minus 2% resistance bonus, because the Tech 2 ones are 44% resistance bonus. These things are sick. So use these guys. They're fun. And then medium armor repair, just don't skimp on the Tech 2 version of that. If you want to skimp somewhere on here, I don't know, there's not many places to like save fit space. I guess if you're short on fit space for the VNI, I guess you drop the neutrons to ion blasters, and you'll get all the space back that you need. But you could go compact on both of these and just have to watch your cap a little more, and that would compact Microwarpdrive probably would be enough to save you enough space that you need. Besides CPU management and power grid management, you should max those to 5 as soon as possible so that you can just put stuff on your ship, because stuff is fun and not stuff is not fun. Okay, so let's talk about the rigs then. We've got collision accelerator for more deeps. So it's giving me about 26, 27 DPS, whatever. It's fine. I don't need a capacitor control circuit over here like I did on the Vexer, so I'm putting that there, and then just more thermal and more kinetic resist here. So when you're running up against Serpentis, that's the kind of damage they deal. You're never going to take explosive damage if you do it right, or EM, so you don't need to worry about plugging those holes like you would in PvP. And so that is the Vexor Navy Issue build. The strategy with this is to figure out what your rat spawn is. Is there a battleship? If the answer is yes, you go orbit that battleship while your drones kill everything else, and you start whaling on the battleship with your blasters. And you want to drain it with your Nosferatu. So this thing, you can really keep yourself very stable in this. Shut your Microwarpdrive off when you get there, because otherwise you're huge. You're like bigger than a battleship with your Microwarpdrive on. And you're also very heavy. Wow. Okay. So that's the idea with this. So over the Vexer build, here's my Tech 2 Rat Blaster, which Eve says I can fly, but I can't fly it because it's got Tech 2 heavies in it, so I don't know what they're thinking. But that's Eve for you. So this has Tech 2. I have 5 lights in here because he doesn't have the tracking bonus, and sometimes the mediums take forever to kill frigates. I don't know. So I put 5 lights in here, but you should only really launch those against frigates. And so this is the Tech 2 Rat Blaster Vexer. Not quite as good. So here's what you get out of the Vexor Navy Issue with this fit compared to the other one, and I will talk about price in a second. So you're getting about 7,500 more EHP, so just a little extra buffer in case something happens, and this just comes naturally. Like, I don't have a plate fitted on here or any sort of Trimark armor pumps to give me any more EHP. This is just straight up from the resists, and because this thing is huge. You're gaining about 75 DPS over the Vexer, which isn't a whole ton, but honestly I don't have, so my DPS will probably go up a little bit, but it'll go up for the Vexer too. So I don't know, it's probably around 75 DPS, which is what, you're gaining 15 to 20% DPS. It's pretty significant. So, over 10 seconds you're going to deal 750 more damage. I mean, it's pretty good. 15 HP a second on the armor repair is probably the best thing. You can really keep yourself topped off in this. You don't have to worry too much in the VNI. And you also have bonus kinetic resist, like 9% more than the Vexer. Because on the Vexer I was having to take up rig slots with like capacitor control circuits so I could keep enough capacitor to keep going. And so I had to choose between thermal and kinetic, so I just chose thermal. So, you're going to take a little less damage in this. You're going to heal a little bit more. And you're going to generally just be better off. So you also can fly in at about 140 meters per second faster, which means you can get around faster too, and noticeably more maneuverable. So it's a little more cap stable because the Nosferatu helps keep us topped off. The only problem is it's about 44 million ISK more expensive. Basically, the Tech 2 Rat Blaster is about, well, this says 48 mil, and this is 92 mil, so it's effectively double the cost. So you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons of that. I think that VNIs, if you find a good blueprint price, they can be cheaper than that to make, because the hull itself, let's see what it thinks the hull is, 60 mil I'm guessing. Oh, well, the drones are still in there. I hate it when it does that. And the ammo too. So the hull, it says the hull's around 60 mil, but if you build it yourself and you get a good blueprint price somewhere under 44, 43, 42 million, you can build it for cheaper than that in a good station. So, you know, cost versus whatever. And it has, I think, one of my favorite skins in the game, which really shouldn't influence my choice, but it does, because look how shiny it is. So that is it. The link to the fit will be in the video description. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take your Vexor Navy issue out and blow some stuff up. Just remember, if you know your targets, change out your drone type to hit the damage type of the resist hole, and change out your hardeners to harden the things you want hardened. And then, you know, you can't do anything about your rigs. Unless you want to keep destroying rigs over and over, you're just going to have to be a little suboptimal against things that aren't, you know, whatever you fit it for. If it's a Vexer, you're probably in Galente space and you're probably fighting Serpentis. But if you swap these out for their other kinds, you'll have plenty of stuff to take on whatever you need. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Next, I think we will be doing an Ishtar video. We will also be doing an anti-Jita scam video. That's going to be a short one. Hint, they're all scams. And we'll probably do one on cap stability, which is a much debated topic, and I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. Not literally, because I like this hat, and I'm afraid that I'm going to lose it if I throw it in there for real. But like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on EVE Basics. Bye-bye.